7 silent behaviors that make people regret hurting you. Sometimes you don't need to shout, you don't need to explain, you don't need to prove your worth to anyone, because silence is the loudest answer you will ever give to someone who hurt you. Here are 7 silent behaviors that make people regret ever taking you for granted. 1. The silence of self-respect. There comes a moment in your life when you stop trying to convince people to treat you right. You stop explaining your worth to those who were never willing to see it. You stop repeating the same conversations with people who refuse to listen the first 10 times. And instead of demanding respect, you decide to walk away in silence. That silence is not weakness. It is not retreat. It is not surrender. It is self-respect taking control. When someone hurts you, they expect you to cry, chase them, question them, or crumble. They expect drama, reaction, and emotional chaos. But when you respond with nothing but quiet distance, it shakes them. Because silence forces them to confront themselves. Suddenly, your absence becomes louder than any words you could have spoken. People regret hurting you the moment they realize that you weren't trying to win them, you were choosing yourself. They didn't push you away, they lost you. And when you protect your peace with silence, you show the world that your respect is not up for negotiation. That is when regret begins to grow in their hearts. 2. The silence of consistency. While others are busy talking, you keep building, you keep learning, you keep improving yourself quietly. You do not post every move, you do not announce every goal, you do not seek validation. Your silence becomes your discipline, and your discipline becomes your power. The people who hurt you expect you to fall apart. They expect failure, stagnation, or emotional collapse. But what they never expect is for you to rise, in silence, in focus, in total dedication to your future. You become the version of yourself they never believed you could be. And one day, without any noise, your progress speaks for you. Your new confidence speaks for you. Your glow speaks for you. Your achievements become the proof of your unwavering consistency. And that's when regret hits them the strongest. Because while they were busy hurting you, you were busy growing into someone they can no longer reach. Silence is not empty. It is full of the work you do behind closed doors. And your growth becomes the loudest reminder of everything they lost when they lost you. 3. The silence of emotional control. People expect reactions. They expect you to defend, attack, yell, cry, or collapse. They think their words have the power to destroy you, as if your heart is something they can break at will. But you surprise them, not by fighting, not by arguing, but by staying completely calm. Emotional control is one of the rarest forms of strength. When you refuse to let someone's behavior pull you out of your character, you take away their power. Because nothing confuses and intimidates a person more than someone who refuses to be emotionally controlled. Your silence becomes a shield. Your calmness becomes your armor. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand you. You stop reacting to people who only want to provoke you. Suddenly they are forced to confront their own behavior without your emotional energy fueling the fire. And that is when the regret begins. They realize you were the mature one. You were the stable one. You were the peaceful one they didn't value. When you master your emotions, you master every situation. And those who hurt you learn that losing someone with emotional strength is a mistake they won't forget. The silence of indifference. Indifference is colder than anger. It's quieter than arguments, and it's more powerful than revenge. When someone hurts you deeply, your heart doesn't turn hateful. It just stops caring. And that silence, that emotional detachment is what shocks people the most, because they are used to you being warm, being kind, being present, being available. They are used to your energy pouring into them without hesitation. But suddenly, the light switches off, the attention disappears, the emotional availability they took for granted is gone. You don't check on them anymore. You don't worry about what they think. You don't analyze their behavior. You don't wonder if they miss you. You simply detach, and that silence hits harder than any argument, because it tells them that their actions didn't just hurt you, they disconnected you, permanently. Indifference is the moment they realize you no longer see them as important, that your peace matters more than their presence. And once someone feels the emptiness of being unnoticed by you, regret becomes inevitable, because they finally understand that your attention was a privilege, not a guarantee. The silence of moving on quietly. There is nothing louder than a person who quietly outgrows the ones who hurt them. You don't announce your healing. You don't post your transformation. You don't tell the world that you're moving on. You simply do it. You heal in silence. You rebuild in silence. You evolve in silence. People who hurt you expect you to remain stuck in the same chapter they left you in. But what they never expect is that you will rewrite the entire story without them. They left thinking you would fall apart, not realizing you were in the process of becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more powerful. One day they scroll and see a different version of you, glowing, confident, peaceful, and in that moment they realize they didn't break you. They shaped you. Your quiet transformation becomes a mirror reflecting their mistakes. Nothing creates regret more than seeing you become someone extraordinary after they underestimated you. They expected you to wait for closure. Instead, you closed the door yourself and walked into a new life. Silent growth is a language only the mature understand, and it is the most beautiful form of revenge. 6. The silence of not seeking revenge. Revenge is loud, but healing is silent. And when someone hurts you, choosing not to retaliate is a level of strength they don't expect. You aren't interested in making them suffer. You aren't interested in proving a point. You aren't interested in wasting your energy trying to hurt them back. You simply let life take the lead, because life has a way of returning energy exactly where it came from. You don't have to dirty your hands. You don't have to lower your standards. You don't have to become like them. Your silence becomes unsettling. It becomes a mirror that forces them to face their own choices without distraction. People regret hurting someone who remains kind, poised, and dignified through pain, because it reveals your character and exposes theirs. When you choose peace over payback, you rise above the situation, and nothing is harder to live with than realizing the person you tried to break refused to break you back. They see your integrity, they see your calmness, and regret grows quietly in the silence you maintain. Not seeking revenge is not weakness, it is emotional mastery, and it is unforgettable. The silence of knowing your worth. The most powerful silence is the silence of someone who finally knows their worth. When you truly understand who you are, you bring what you deserve and what you will no longer tolerate. You stop explaining and start exiting. You stop pleading and start choosing. You stop chasing and start attracting. Your presence was their privilege. Your love was rare. Your loyalty was unmatched, but they didn't recognize your value until your silence forced them to. Because nothing feels heavier than the absence of someone who used to give everything. You no longer fight to be understood. You no longer wait to be appreciated. You no longer settle for half love or half effort. Your silence becomes self-love in its purest form. And that is when regret hits them the hardest. They realize too late that you were irreplaceable. People can replace attention, conversations, even relationships. But they cannot replace genuine energy, loyalty, and depth. Your worth becomes the echo they hear long after you're gone. And they learn, painfully, that losing someone who knows their worth means losing a blessing they'll never find again. Final message, remember this: you don't need to raise your voice for your value to be heard. Your silence, your growth, your peace, your strength is the loudest "I deserve better" the world will ever hear. Let them regret, let them watch, but keep moving forward with the quiet power of someone who knows their worth.